Raining in light, lessons. Lessons. Of all that we are, thankfully we are human. Because we are human, we are free to make mistakes. We are free to grow. We are free to learn. We are free to feel. We are free to disagree. We are free to fuss. We are free to dislike. We are free to love. We are free to stop, and we are free to go. And sometimes we can only do these things when alone, and sometimes only inside of ourselves. Just as we are free to do all of these things, we are free to learn lessons. Lessons sometimes come easy and without consequences or repercussions, and lessons sometimes come hard and with consequences and repercussions. If we can see or hear the message, we can take it, we can use it to grow and perhaps to share with others, as we are all growing together. Growth is not only a physical phenomenon, it is a mental and spiritual one as well. Lessons. Recall the last time that you learned a useful one. Deep breaths in, slow breaths out. Maybe a useful one that you still use to this day. Sometimes when things go bad or appear to have fallen apart, all we benefit from is the lesson. Deep breaths in, slow breaths out. What we've learned is that even good things can fall apart. This is a difficult lesson to sometimes see and to accept. Recall from earlier episodes that in life we don't always get the hows or the whys. Learning a lesson is not always from an unpleasant experience. Know that we are supposed to be learning from all that we do and from all that is around us. Deep breaths in, slow breaths out. A lesson to remember is that everything changes, even when we do not get to witness that change. A lesson is something important enough to remember and to be guided by in all coming actions. A lesson is a yield sign. It is a proceed with caution sign. And it can be a stop sign. Deep breaths in, slow breaths out. A lesson can bring grace. It can bring peace if we're patient enough to allow it. A lesson learned can provide us with a more in-depth understanding of ourselves, others, and the world around us. If we can take the lesson and use it, then we are given another opportunity. And maybe not the same opportunity as before, but one that may produce better results. A lesson learned gives us knowledge. With each one, we grow wiser. A lesson learned gives us experience. Learning a lesson does not have to always mean we've made a mistake. It does not always mean we've done wrong. And if we have, fine, because we're still growing. Lessons are sometimes like a driving force and a guide of motivation for the next part of our journey. Lessons in and of life can be our best teachers. The lessons we're talking about here isn't math, but it will add up and perhaps take away what we don't need. These lessons aren't science, though they will help us to maintain chemistry with the universe. These lessons aren't language and arts, though they will teach us to speak and act with humility, confidence, and hopefully gratitude. These lessons are profound and sometimes gifts from our higher belief, the universe, and nature. There are many lessons to learn in life. Know that before hard lessons are learned, there's usually a warning. If we are listening, we will hear it. Examples here are the person that drives under the influence and gets in trouble, but does not stop using the substance, and before long, more trouble comes, like incarceration or heavy fines, or worse. Or the person that does not pay enough attention or study, and they fail an exam, and they continue in this way, and they fail a class. or the person whose lover keeps taking them back or forgiving them for breaking promises and continuing to take that person for granted until they leave the relationship for good. The list of examples of lessons in their mornings go on and on. The message or lesson that we need does not stop presenting itself in different forms until we have learned what is needed. For this and other things, we must now make wholehearted attempts to be kind to ourselves, showing kindness by learning the lesson and practicing what we can of the receipt of it. We must make wholehearted attempts to be honest with ourselves. Being honest is practicing our own self-reflection and becoming self-aware. This will lead to us accepting and taking full responsibility for our own lives. Taking full responsibility for our life is being realistic about our strengths and weaknesses. When we're realistic about our weaknesses, this, too, becomes a strength. When we're realistic about our weaknesses, we are no longer limited by them. Through them, we make a commitment to ourselves to not be ruled by them. We instead use them as a lesson, which is a light, and out of any darkness. Darkness doesn't always mean lost or hopelessness. It just sometimes means a lack of knowledge. In this particular case, lessons give us knowledge. Some of the greatest lessons we'll learn over the course of our journey is to love ourselves, to know and understand that the world is bigger than us, to know that we won't always get what we want, to know that we cannot make everyone happy, to always wait our turn, to go slow, to know that money can't fix everything, to be honest to all, including ourselves, to know that we shouldn't go to sleep angry, to try not to go to sleep angry. We don't get back time, so we must cherish it. Take care of our overall health. Learn to forgive. Know that everything is temporary. And know that we can't buy true love. The list goes on and on. We may have already discovered that some of these are true. So a lesson is also advice. It is an instruction. A lesson allows us to improve ourselves, our relationship, and our world. As we use our lessons to become better, we are reminded to never give up. The lesson here is persistence. This means to keep going even when it is difficult. Using our lessons means to practice and to reflect upon them. If the lesson is to love ourselves, then we must get to know ourselves. And we must accept ourselves and make changes when and if needed. In this life and on this journey, most of the tools that we need today are right before us. All we have to do is pick them up. Some of the best lessons in life have already been taught and discovered and are free for us to use. Know that the entire world, the entire universe is our giant, ginormous classroom, and our learning never ends. Lessons are all around us. We can use them to our advantage and without having to learn the hard way. So as we look both ways before we cross the street, remember to be kind. Know that what we say and do might not be liked by everyone. Know that if we work hard, success will follow. Remember to practice good manners and to mind our own business. Lessons, appreciate them. Raining in light, consider it.